All right, so I had a request to get another video made for the fried egg that was a little bit clearer. So I'm going to go ahead and go back over this assignment. So for these particular activities, it's very important that you create a plan before you start your work. So I'm looking at my example and I can see a couple of different things that are going on. So I'm going to start at the background. I can see that I'm going to need a circle for the pan, a circle for kind of that nonstick surface. I'm going to need a handle. The egg white looks like just a whole bunch of circles sort of overlapping each other. And then you have the yolk with the highlight. So when I think about making a plan, I'm going to go ahead and break this problem into, I think, 3 parts. I don't think I'll need more than 3 parts. So the first part that I'm going to do is the actual pan. The pan looks to be made of 3 separate sections. You have that large circle in the background that's kind of a gray color. You have the bottom of the skillet that's kind of that black color. And then you have that handle that's that gray color coming out the side. Now, once I get the pan done, I'm going to focus in on the whites of the egg. Okay, so that just looked to be like 5 sort of overlapping circles that made like a flower shape in the background. So I'm just going to need 5 circles for that. And then the last thing, I'm just going to need the yolk. Now, the yolk was made up of 2 parts, a yellow circle that was the actual yolk, and then like this little round white dot that was called a highlight. Okay, so we're going to break this problem into 3 small sections. Now, anytime you are adding something to graphics, there's 4 parts. The first part is to create your object, and that's where you do the var and then the object name, new circle or new rectangle. The second and third steps are to set your properties. So your set color and your set position, because you want it to look a certain way. And then the last thing you do is you actually add it to your canvas. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now I have 1, 2, 3 parts for the pan. I have 5 circles for the egg whites, and I have 2 parts for the yolk. So altogether, that's going to be 10 objects that I'm going to be working with in my actual program. All right, so let's go to our editor. Now, the program gave us a whole bunch of pre-made pieces. So it gave us a bunch of radius, widths, heights, colors, already pre-made for us. So we're going to use a lot of that math. So that's going to make things go faster. So let's start off with making our pan. Pan has 3 parts. It has the handle. So we're going to go var, and I'm going to call it handle equals new rectangle. And we're going to need 2 parameters for the rectangle. We're going to need the width, which is right up here. The handle width is get width divided by 2. And we're going to need the height of the handle, which is the handle width divided by 4. So I'm just going to copy this exact variable, handle width, and paste that in because we always do width first. And then we're going to paste in handle height and put that in after. So that's going to give me my handle. Next, I need my outside of my pan. So I'm going to go pan outside. It's going to be my variable name. And for this one, I'm going to need a new circle. Now, a circle only takes 1 argument, and that's the pan radius, which is right up here on line 1. So I'll put that in there. And then the last part that I need from my plan is that bottom of the pan. Okay, so I'm going to do var pan bottom equals new circle. And again, we're going to do the radius. Now, I don't want to do the same pan radius because then you won't be able to see that outside. We're going to need the one that was set up special for it, which is the pan bottom radius, which is just 20 pixels less than the pan radius. So we're going to copy and paste that in. All right, so I've created my objects, but here's the thing. If I hit run, nothing's going to appear. I haven't put anything on my canvas. I still have to set my colors. So we're going to go handle, and then we're going to give it the command set color. Now, the handle, if I remember correctly from my assignment, is gray, and the outside of the pan is gray, and then the bottom is black. So the handle.setColor is going to be the same color as the pan, which is right up here. Pan color is color.gray. So we're going to put that in as our set color for that. And the pan outside, we're going to use the command set color, is also the pan color. The only one that is black is the pan bottom. So I'm going to go pan bottom dot set color. And there should be a pan bottom color. Oh, right up here. It's on line 7. So that's my second step. So I've created my object. I've set the color. Now I need to set the positions. I want them in the center of the screen. So to set something in the center of the screen, you're going to call your variable. I'm going to do my handle first. We're going to go set position. And I'm going to get 2 parameters. Now to get something right in the middle, I'm going to use the command get width and then divide it by 2, because the get width command says from here to here, what is that number? So get width, this canvas might be 400 pixels wide, and then 400 would be this one way over here. I want the number that's right in the middle, so I would divide by 2, so I'd get 200 as my pixels. So my command will look like this, get width, make sure you capitalize that W. You're going to do open and close parentheses and then divide by 2. So that'll get you halfway across going this way. Now we need to do that again vertically. So we're going to do comma, get height, and then divide that by 2. And I'm going to repeat that for my pan outside dot set position and my pan bottom dot set position. Now, you can reuse your code. You don't have to retype all of this. I'm just going to come back. I'm going to copy all of that get width, get height, and I'm going to paste it right in. Oh, I had a colon there, not a semicolon. It was catching it for me. So you make your object, you set your color, you set your position. Now the only thing left to do to finish my pan is to actually add these items to my canvas, and I do that with the add command. So I just spell out add, and then I use my variable name handle to call it. I'm going to go add pan outside, don't forget your semicolons, and add pan bottom. Okay. Now when I hit run, okay, so I did forget something. My circles are in the perfect position, but you'll notice the handle is not quite where I want it to be. And that's because when you place rectangles, it measures from the top corner of that rectangle or the top line, not the middle of the rectangle. So to get that, all I have to do is come up to my height parameter on my setting position, and I'm just going to move it. Now, if I want something to move up in the height, I subtract a certain number of pixels. So I'm just going to guess about 30 pixels. That looks better, but it's still a little bit too high. I'm going to go down to 25 pixels. And there we go. That actually looks almost perfect. So my pan is now done. If you need to go ahead and pause this video, feel free to do so. And then we're going to move on to our next section of the plan where we're building our egg whites. Now there's a lot of different circles to work with here, so pause if you need to. All right, welcome back. We are going to be getting into the section on making the egg whites. Now, if I look at my plan and the original assignment, it's just 5 circles, all sort of overlapping. So I need to create 5 circle objects. I need to set all of their color to white. And then the positioning, I'm going to need to put them in the middle and then just kind of spread them out a little bit so it makes an egg white. And then I'll add them to my canvas here. So I'm going to go var and I'm going to go white and I'm just going to number it. Since I'm going to have 5 different circles and they're all going to look very, very similar, I want to make sure each one has its own unique name. So this one is going to be egg white number 1, and that's going to be a new circle. And the radius that we're going to use is one of our pre-filled options. So right here on line 9, you have egg radius. And we're going to copy and paste that in. And that'll give us a small white dot to work with. Now, I love code reuse. I copy and paste, and I'm going to copy and paste all of this code 4 more times. And then the only change I'm going to make is to the names. This is going to be egg white number 2. This is going to be number 3, number 4, and number 5. And that right there is each one of my circles created, each with their own unique name, and I was able to reuse some code. So I've created my objects. Now let's set their color and position. So to set color, we're going to repeat the steps that we did here. We're going to call our variable, do set color, and then use one of our presets up here. So we're going to go white 1 dot set color. That's going to be my command. And I do have an egg white preset color up here. It is right here. Egg white color is color.white. So I'm going to copy this preset variable that I have. I'm going to put it in there. And I'm going to repeat this for each of my egg whites because I have to do this for each one. So I'm going to do egg white 2, egg white 3, egg white 4, egg white 5, and then don't forget to go in and update your numbers. Now for setting the position, it's actually easiest to start off with all of their positions exactly the same and then adjust them as you see fit. So we're going to do set position. And I'm going to borrow this exact center equation that I did right up here with my pans. And I'm just going to stack all of my egg whites right in the middle of the pan before I spread them out. Okay. So we're going to get white 1, white 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's add each one of those items to our canvas. Now, this is going to look a little odd right at first because when you put your whites on, they're all going to be stacked on top of each other. It's not going to be that pretty flower, at least not yet. So let's get those added on there, and I'll show you how to update those and move them around so that you get that pretty flowering effect. Let it run. You'll see they're all right there. Okay. Now, when I do get width divided by 2, that gives me the exact center. Now, with my knowledge of coordinates, I know from left to right is my x-coordinates. So if I want to take this egg white and move it to the left, I'm going to be subtracting numbers. If I want to move it to the right, I'm going to be adding numbers. Okay, so I'll do this with egg white number 1. I have it right here in the center. I'm going to subtract 20 pixels. That's going to move this egg white over just ever so slightly. Okay, so you can see it did that. Now with height, it's going to be a little bit reversed. Because height starts at 0 here at the top and then the numbers increase as you go down. If you want something to move up, you're actually subtracting numbers, and to go down, you're adding numbers. So that's a little bit different. So if I get height, I can now subtract, and this will move this egg white up a little bit. I can do maybe 25 pixels, and that will kind of offset that one up just a little bit. Now let's do this with egg white number 2. I want it to move over to the left, so I'm going to be subtracting from width, but I want it to move down a little bit, so I'm going to add to my height. So I'm going to go get width. I like that 20. I think that's in a good position, but this time I'm going to add 20 pixels. And so this one will move over and down. Okay, that looks really good. Now I want this one to just move straight up, but I don't want it to go side to side. So I'm going to leave the get width alone, and I'm just going to subtract maybe 30 pixels. See what that looks like. All right, that looks good. I'm going to have this one move over, so I'm going to add to my width, and down, so I'm going to subtract from my height. So I'm going to go over, let's go plus 30 pixels, and then down, I'm going to subtract 15 pixels. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that did not go down as much as I wanted it to. Oh, or did that go up? Let me try a little bit higher number. Okay, so that's moving it up. I made a mistake. I need to add. See, I get it mixed up in my head too. All right, and that went a little bit farther down than I intended, so let's go 20. All right. And then this last one, I want it to move over and up, so I will be subtracting from height. So I'm going to do plus 20 pixels, and I'll do minus 15. All right, so now we have that really pretty flowering. Now, it may not look exactly like our exercise example. It does not have to. The main thing is that you have that egg white kind of spread out in the background. Now, the last part of our plan was to create the egg yolk. Now, you need 2 circles, 1 yellow and 1 as the highlight. So let's go ahead and make our egg yolk section. By the way, if you need to pause here to get caught up, please feel free to do so. All right, welcome back. Excuse me. I'm going to make 2 circles. The first one is going to be my yolk. That is a new circle. And I'm going to use the same radius for this one as I did for my egg whites, because that was right there with the egg radius. So I'm just going to copy that. Oops, make sure you get all of it. And then I will need another one for the little dot highlight. I'm just going to call it dot. And I'll do new circle. And then this one had its own radius. This one was very, very small. So we're going to use the highlight radius. It is 4 times smaller than the egg radius. Okay. Sorry, guys, I have a bit of a cough today. All right. Now, this one is where color setting is super important because we need the yolk to be yellow and the dot to be white. So we're going to go yolk dot set color. And then right up here, we have the egg yolk color variable. So we're going to copy that. It's on line 11. And set that. And we'll do the same thing with the dot. I'm going to do dot dot set color. And this one, the highlight color is right here. So on line 14, highlight color is set to color dot white. Right there. So we've set our color. Now we need to set our position. Now, as I did with the whites, we're just going to set both of them right in the center. And then if I need to adjust them later, I can go ahead and do that. So we're going to go yolk dot set position, dot dot set position. And then I'm going to reborrow that get height, get width divided by 2 that I used up here with my pans. Always reuse your code. You don't have to type things more than once if you don't want to. All right, and now let's add them to our canvas and see what it looks like. So we're going to go add yolk, add dot. All right, now I do not like that little white dot right there in the center, so I am going to be adjusting that little highlight So I want it to move over, so I'm going to add to my width, and up, so I'm going to subtract from my height. So get width, let's do plus 10 pixels, and then get height minus 10 pixels. It's very small, so I don't want to move it too much. And that looks almost perfect. All right, so I hope you found this video helpful. There's a lot of code to this. The most important parts are, number one, making a plan, making sure you know all of the different shapes that you're going to need to make. Break it into small sections. Do one piece at a time and get them placed where you want them to. Don't try to tackle it all at once. And then that get width and get height, where you have things set in the center, that's going to be a very handy tool. Okay. Let me know if you guys need anything else.